So we're out here on this customer's job. He called me the other day and said that he was getting air in the water, and now he has no water at all. So I'm going to take you with me, and we're going to figure out why he has no water. Let me see that bad boy. All right. All right, and there she is. Okie dokie. All right. Hey, there's a dead mouse right there. Yeah, Stuart Little. Okay, so he has the gauge. The gauge shows pressure, but we don't know that for sure. The gauge might be faulty. Ugh. Tank's still good. Let's check air pressure in it. Still got some air in it, but probably not enough. And see the check valve here. I do not like check valves at tanks. And those contacts look like they're burnt. So, and I notice here that we have a galvanized nipple. So you see right here, that's not brass. So this right here could be stopped up. And the reason why he could be getting air is because this check valve is working, but the one in the pump is leaking. So because this one will hold the water pressure, the one in the pump is not getting any head pressure to push back against it in order to seal the O-ring in the check valve. So it's allowing the water in the drop pipe where the pump is to drop down to wherever the water level is, and it creates an air pocket in the drop pipe. All right, Justin, let me see my electric meter. Okay. So first things first, we are going to check power. I've got weird voltage there. Okay. Will you ask the customer if he has the breaker off, and if so, can he turn it on?
Do you have the breaker off by any chance?
I'm sorry?
Do you have the breaker off?
Yeah, you turned it on?
Yeah, yes sir.
Okay.
Yes, off.
Customer had it off. I was getting 3 volts for some strange reason. Alright. Justin, I'm gonna need a flathead screwdriver. Okay, I think I heard him kick it on. Okay, so I got 242 volts there. 242 volts there. 240 there. And 240 there. So from that we know that power is going through the switch, and it should be going out to the pump. The contacts seem pretty burnt on one side. And look, ooh, I got a spark. Oh, did you hear that? Listen. It just all started running. So what we've got here, I just saw it, and I may have picked it up on camera. What we have, we'll zoom in on that switch. We have a loose wire. Is there a screwdriver, sir?
Do you want me to tell him to check?
No. So this wire right here is loose. I saw it arc. Oh, see it just arced again. Okay, so we're gonna let this system pump up and kick off. I'm holding tension on it because as the amp draw goes up, it will start to spark more. It will pump up and it will kick off. And see, he said he was getting air. So because he was getting air, this may be one problem.
I smell something burning.
Yeah, you're right. It may be too much. I can smell electricity too. Alright, we're gonna turn that off. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna tighten. Ooh, oh yeah, it melted. It melted. Alright. Yeah, alright. Wow, yeah, you can smell it. Alright, tell him to cut the power off.
Can you cut the breaker back off? Turn it back off? Yes, sir. Thank you.
So y'all can't smell it, but I can. It was it's melting the back portion of the switch. So the third wire, the second white wire on the right hand side, has actually started to melt. And it started to melt the plastic casing around the contacts. Did he shut it off? Okay. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to
set now too.
Now watch this. So this, when I tried to undo it, it was kind of melting. Yeah, I think it just got hot from not having a good connection, loose connection. All right, yeah, that screw feels crusty. All right, so what we're gonna do, I don't even have a need to put this back in here like this. But so the first problem was the damn wire was put on the wrong side. As you tighten it, it's supposed to pull the wire in, not push the wire out. So maybe somebody's been in here fidgeting with this. I'm gonna see if I can show you. Check it out, yeah. So you see the contacts on the left side. You can see they're kind of burnt. And then you come to the right side and those actually look nice and pretty in copper. But the ones on the left are pretty chewed up. So the switch has probably had a short for a while. So we're going to go ahead and replace the short. We're going to go ahead and replace the switch, I mean. And because the nipple below the switch down here is galvanized, we're going to go ahead and replace it. And then we're going to go outside and make sure that the check valve and the pump is holding, because this one may be doing all the job as to why he was getting air. And then while we have the switch off, while we replace the switch, we're going to go ahead and check the air pressure in this tank, because this tank here looks to be probably 15 or 20 years old. We come here and we look at the code date. It says 4/9/96, so May the 9th of 96 probably. And we're coming over here. You've got a little bit of information up here, but I believe that tank's really low on air. So next thing we're going to do, we're going to go out to the well and check it. But we know we have to do something with this. So we're just going to put that on there for now and head out to the well. Okay, so we've made our way out here to the well. We're going to go ahead now and take the cover off. No black widows. Good. No black widows. Clean up all the spider webs. The yellow jackets. All right. I hear B. I hear B.
Watching.
He's flying around. Wow. It's like they poured concrete all in the bottom of it.
My guess was there wasn't any water in it.
Maybe, but I see that they use galvanized here, and they also use galvanized fittings down at the tank.
Yeah.
So maybe they used the galvanized fitting on top of the pump, and there's a hole in it. So all we have to do is, first thing we need to do is check the amp draw. So Justin, did you see where he turned the breaker on it? All right, go turn it on, and we're gonna count to 10 and turn it right back off.
Okay.
It wasn't enough for me to do that at the switch.
We had an electrical storm the day it went off.
Oh yeah? So maybe it got struck by lightning?
Might be, I don't know. It's one of the possibilities. Also, I'm sitting on a fault here, a major fault, and we have earth tremors.
Oh, okay.
And I thought it may have shut off the flow of water with the...
No, ain't nothing gonna shut off the flow of water in a vein. You'll have an electrical issue before you'll have any sort of, you know, geological Mother Nature issue.
Well, if we get this going, I'm going to talk to you about a bigger project.
What you got?
Well, I'm thinking about hooking another well to the house.
Do you have one on the property already?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And maybe I'll have to drill another one. I don't know. This one is just full of what looks like flakes of gold and black sand.
All right, it's pulling 8.3. Just leave it on for a second. I'm gonna let it run for about 20-30 seconds, see if it'll pump up and cut off. It should have kicked off by now. Hey, all right, you can cut it off on your way back. Bring me the torch. So the amp draw was like 8.2, which is kind of high, but it may be okay if it's a 1 horsepower. It's not totally out of the realm of normalcy. So what I'm going to do now, it's supposed to have 40 psi on it. So in theory, this should like blow off because it's got water pressure behind it.
Right.
But my thoughts are that there's going to be a broken fitting or something down in the well, a split pipe. So I'm not going to have any pressure here.
Right.
All the pressure is going to be held at the tank because of that check valve.
Yeah.
That's why I hate check valves at tank.
Did that maybe.
A lot of plumbers do it. But it causes the issue of air getting in the line. When that one up there at the house holds back all the pressure, if this one doesn't see any pressure, there's nothing pushing back against it to make it seal.
It's not making it work.
Yeah, it's not allowing it to work. You see,
Actually seal it around
in
the pipe.
theory, yeah, in theory, it should have been leaking already. I do get a little bit of spray. It got me in the face. Oh, that's weird. I was gonna say that's kind of weird. The check valve isn't holding.
No, it's not. Is it?
And then we put our hand on this to see if it's gonna suck it back, but it doesn't. Kind of strange. Let's see. So you see how I'm getting water out of it like that? That means this is fine. There's nothing wrong with this. I'm using it, it's kind of like a pitcher pump.
Right.
If there was a leak down the hole, I wouldn't be getting water out of that. The pump could be old and worn out, but you said it was only how old?
It's not been in there a year.
Okay, so if it's only been in there a year, theoretically it shouldn't have any issues. The well still has great water. It's full of water. I can pick the pump up, so we know that that's not the issue.
Okay.
As I pick it up and down, I get water to come out of here, so we know that with the weight of the system, if it was a bad fitting, broken pipe, bad check valve, it would be a whole lot lighter weight. It wouldn't be as heavy, and then I wouldn't get water to come out of this fitting here. When I do that,
Yeah.
water wouldn't come out. So we're gonna go ahead now, we're gonna hook this back up, and then we're gonna go to the tank, and we'll check the air in it. Your tank is like 20-some plus years old.
97.
Yeah, so the tank had a 1996 manufacturer decal on it.
Yeah.
So I would recommend just replacing the tank.
Can you get another tank under the house?
Yeah, I should. God, I hope so. I didn't think
Well, we
about
can
that.
always just move it just inside the garage there.
Oh, you don't want it underneath the house?
Well,
The easiest thing to do is take that one out and put the other one right there.
Well, if you can, and I'm just not sure it'll fit that hole.
If it went in, it should come out. All right, we're back here. We're gonna get up under there and start replacing this tank. So my assessment of there being a leak at the well was incorrect. But because they have this here, there could be a leak somewhere between the house and the well, and it only leaks while the pump is running. So we're going to remove this check valve out of the system when we install our new tank, and that will allow us to know if we have a leak in our incoming line. If there is a check valve at your tank on the incoming side, If there's ever a leak between your tank and your house, you'll never know it until you start having an issue. This customer said he was getting air in the water. So we haven't quite figured out why he was getting air in the water yet. But in order to diagnose it correctly, we have to take that check valve out of the equation. Okay. So the hole in the bottom of the switch is still present, so I can see through it. Now let's see if the screwdriver falls to the bottom. Oh, it's got some trash right there. Just a little bit was right there at the bottom. Golly. Ow. Damn it. My light fell on my head. Let's see. Oh yeah, look at that. So you see inside of there, the rust buildup. Now granted, you can see through that, but I jammed the screwdriver through it already. Now we're going to go over here and we're going to take a look in the hole of the tank T. So this is the area where you're going to want to look to make sure you don't have any obstruction right there. You can see the debris at the bottom of the hole. That was what I knocked out of the nipple. So there was trash in there. Maybe not enough to plug it up, but there was something. And as I'm listening, you can hear a gurgle. Hear that gurgle? So that means water's going somewhere. I have this valve shut off, so there's no water coming from the house. That means this is leaking and water is going back out somewhere. So something is taking water away, and because this is an air vent now, this allows air to come in to where water can escape. So we've got water leaking somewhere. We just have to determine where. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and cut this. I'm going to plumb in the new tank, and then we're going to turn the system on and see if it holds steady at 60 psi when it builds up. It should. What I'm expecting to find is that it's going to build up to 60, and then it's going to slowly leak back down, and then it's going to build back up, and it's going to slowly leak back down. That's what I think I'm going to find. Let's see. All right, so if you take a look at the tank, we have disconnected the copper. We went ahead and cut that, and then we disconnected our black pipe there, and we cut that. And what I wanted to do, I wanted to take the check valve out of the system, and if we look here, here's the check valve. And you can kind of see, if I can spread some light on the situation, that it's cockeyed in there. So this is bad. There's actually a piece of gravel. If I can hold it still enough, you can see that little piece of gravel in the upper right hand corner. We come around, look at this side, look at all of that stuff. That is no bueno. All that is trash. So this check valve was not holding. So that means water was going somewhere. Let's go ahead, replace this tank, and then we can properly diagnose the system. All right, the new tank's been installed. Justin, go ahead and turn it on for me, sir. We had to transition it over here to PVC. I'm going to go ahead and reposition this so we can all stare at the gauge. And ideally what we want to see it build up to 60 psi and then kick off and then not go back down. All right, it's kicked off. And the idea here is we want to see that needle stay steady. If that needle continues to drop and drops all the way to 40 and then kicks back on, what that means is there's a leak somewhere in the system. Somewhere between the well and the house would be a water leak if that gauge goes back down to 40. Because right now, we have it off over here. So the house is not getting any water. So in order to properly diagnose it, we have to have that off. So we know that that new valve is good, and we're going to stare at that. So if you've noticed, it's already dropped from where it kicked on. It's dropped down to about 57, and it may have just rested at that point, but I saw it pump all the way up to about 63, and then now we're sitting at about 57. So I'm gonna give it just a little bit longer, and we're gonna see. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna shut the camera off right now. I'm gonna set a timer for 5 minutes, and then I'm gonna come back and turn it back on and see if we're still sitting above 55, right between 55 and 60. If we're sitting there after 5 minutes, we know that the system is sealed tight and we have no other problems. All right, it has been approximately 5 minutes. The gauge is still holding steady at 57 psi. So I'm going to go ahead now. We're going to open up the house. Oh, we got a little bit of a leak over here. Shark bite leaking. I'm going to go ahead and close that off so it doesn't blow off. And I'm going to push on that a little bit more. I was wondering if I got it on all the way. I just don't think I have it on all the way. Let's see if I ruin the O-ring on this thing. I'll bend that out of the way. Ow! Will you hold on to that? Yep. Oh, God!
You pinch it right there.
No, I hit it with the damn pair of pliers. Alright, fuck it. Give me my copper cutters. I'm gonna replumb this shit. Just throw me the bag.
You got a inline short pipe.
Where's that at?
In the truck.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna need that and
To put it
the
right
PEX
here.
pipe and then all, like,
Okay.
just bring my PEX tackle box. God, I smashed my finger and it hurts. Alright, since the shark bite valve was giving me such a trouble, I went ahead and just replumbed it all in new PEX and then did a shark bite conversion on the vertical run to where it didn't have any stress on the O-ring. So now we're good to go and time to turn the power on and go outside and check for more leaks. Alright, we're going to sit here and watch the system pump up and click off. Now the idea is it should hold at that pressure. I see it resting a little bit. Maybe stretching the bladder inside the tank. She weeps down ever so slightly right there. But I believe once it gets to about 57, it stops. That could be due to the diaphragm inside the tank just sitting there swelling. Ideally, you know, if you had a leak, you would watch that thing and it would slowly weep down and it would never stop. It would just weep. So if you're ever trying to diagnose your own, that's what you want to do. You want to stare at the gauge. But first you want to make sure your gauge is good. Like this system still showed 40 psi on their gauge when the system was off and all the way drained down. So don't be fooled by a broken gauge. Alright, it just sits there at 57. Cool. We're good to go. Oh yeah, ready to go. Let's go back out at the well and make sure we don't have any leaks at any of the connections. So now that we're all done with the tank, the customer said that he was getting air in the lines. Now, he may have gotten air in the lines. But it wasn't due to the typical one check valve is holding and the other one's leaking. In this situation, I feel like the reason why he was getting air was because he was actually running the system completely out of water, and that short on the switch that you saw at the beginning of the video, that short was not allowing the pump to run, so then it would drain all the way down, and then it would, when it would kick back on, it would have a little bit of air in the lines, and it would do so at random because it was, you know, a short. So it wasn't what I thought it was, but we went ahead and we replaced the tank. We saw that the gauge held steady. I'm out here at the well now, and I don't see any leaks. So none of that's leaking, none of that's leaking. So we're good to go. And time to fill out the bill and get on the road. I got 3 more of these to do today. Well, cover's back on. Time for us to get out of here. Well, thank y'all for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you learned something, please give the video a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. See y'all later.